Mohamed Salah. James Pearce, again, another James Pearce news. I feel like it's been a James Pearce show today. He has said that Mohamed Salah's future is increasingly uncertain. Unless he receives an improved offer, he will leave as a free agent at the end of next season. His preference would be to stay in the Premier League if he leaves Liverpool. There was also a couple of other stories regarding Salah around James Pearce. I'll try and pluck them from my brain, but I think he got offered a 30% increase on his wages. I don't know if that's an increase on the original offer we give him or if that was the original offer. And he also only wants to sign a 2-year extension, which would take his Liverpool contract to 3 years. So he'd be 33 at the time. Jack, who can realistically afford him in the Premier League? I have two names, Manchester City and Chelsea. But surely he doesn't do that. He has seen what has happened to other players who leave Liverpool. And as we always say, the grass isn't always as green, is it? So it's a bold move for him to do that, isn't it?
I think I'm going to add a third team to the mix that I think is the most likely in my eyes, and that's Newcastle. Because I think what they're going to do is we have a history of developing players. We developed Mo Salah. So we could have the ego, we could have the perspective of saying, we can replace you. We can go sign Bukayo Saka and make him the next you. We could make Jared Bowen the next Mohamed Salah. I genuinely believe in both of those guys as potential Salah replacements, because they just, they're left-footed right wingers. The comparisons go beyond that. We'll probably have to dig a bit deeper into that, but we could dig into it from a perspective of we can replace you because we have the coaching, we have the squad around it, and the very pessimistic view of it would be you were very good at Roma before you joined, but you became world class here under Klopp and in this system. You go anywhere else, you'll be just another player, another average player. He could be a legitimate one of the greatest players at Liverpool of all time if he stays and wins some more trophies. But if he goes to City, look at Jack Grealish. He was the guy for Aston Villa. He was adored by all of England, basically, because he was playing for a smaller club, his boyhood side, left the club for a lot of money, admittedly, and became just an average player in a great team. He was just another part of it. It would be very sad. I think that he's still got some player in him. I thought the news that was quite literally the worst case scenario, because it wasn't even just that I would prefer a long contract. Give him a 5-year contract. This is the kind of guy who at 36 could still be at a very high level. Just because the way he handles himself fitness wise. But for it to only be 2 years, I don't know what he wanted. What, 6th highest in the world was the fee that he wanted?
Yeah, I think he wants 420 grand a week.
And what's he on right now? 200?
I've seen conflicting reports. I think he's already one of the highest earners. I think he's probably on about 260 grand a week, but it's not been confirmed. There's a lot of numbers between the likes of 280 and 200 grand a week.
I mean, so if they offered him a 15% pay increase on 260 grand a week, well, what was it, 30 that they offered, or was it 15?
30. That's what Pierre said anyway. I think.
Was it 30? I could have sworn I saw it was 15.
I feel like it was 30. Keep talking, I'll check.
Oh yeah. Well, basically, the point I'm making is that you're pulling teeth, and I get, you look at what's happened with Bayern, where they have some players on some pretty big contracts that they're having some issues over there.
Sorry.
So yeah, but 15 I think was really small, because 15 on a 260 grand a week contract just pushes you up to 300 grand a week by 40,000 pounds. And I'll defend Salah with this. I've been talking a lot. I'll let Jay get in. But the last thing I want to kind of just really mention right now is people say, 300 grand a week. How will he survive? How will he put food on the table? That's not the case. He already is one of the top 1% of earners in the world because he does such a unique thing. But it's capitalism. His service is in demand. There's a cost to it. If other players are being paid £400,000 a week and he's performing better than them, he is very right to say, "Why am I not making that?" Same with Sadio Mane. I saw the report that he wanted 392 grand a week, which I thought was pretty hefty. But it's fair for them to ask for that because they believe that's their value. They should go for it.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, my opinion before I ask you, I don't think Salah holds any cards at all. We can say to him, as Jack said, you're not the only player we have made. Jurgen Klopp has made world class. He has made Luis Diaz. What he's going to turn into, God only knows, with a full preseason. Diogo Jota, we've stepped his level up massively. Sadio Mane, even Roberto Firmino. This isn't the only player that we've been like, we'll get you from a step below and we'll bring you to the next level. We have a lot of examples that we've done that with. So Salah doesn't hold any cards there. I think once Salah leaves as well, his goals that he scored will distribute between the rest of the squad anyway, because as much as people don't want to admit it, Salah's greedy, and that's what you have to be one of the best players in the world. But if he isn't there, his goals get shuffled around more. And also, I feel like he's holding the club to ransom, and people are starting to see this. And with his idiotic comments before the Champions League game saying, "I'm the best player in the world, I'm going to win Ballon d'Or," that's like, he's just so cocky. It's starting to make him a bit unlikable, isn't it?
Couldn't agree anymore with everything you just said, mate. There's this narrative as well where people are going, "Oh, it's his agent, it's his agent, his agent's this, his agent's that." At the end of the day, Mo Salah's the one who signs the contract, not his agent. If his agent's asking for too much and Salah's desperate to stay at Liverpool, you tell your agent to piss off and you sign the contract and stay. I don't think he's got any cards to be playing hardball with Liverpool. His form since January has been awful. His form on the mic has been better than what it has on the pitch because he's just coming across as a cocky, a player I never thought he was, to be honest, mate. I've always seen him as a humble, great player. And over the last 6 months, he's just got this cocky, like he's bigger than the club order about him. And he really, really isn't. Like you've just said, we've sold many superstars and made brand new ones. The reason I think he's saying this as well, by the way, Charlie, is because he doesn't have any cards. So because he doesn't have any cards, it's easy for him to go back to the owners and say, "All right, then I won't sign a new contract. I'll go to a rival," hoping that the owners will panic on the back of that and think, "We can't let him go to City, United, Chelsea, whoever. We're going to have to up the offer." So I think that's what he's playing at. But he's blatantly holding the club to ransom. And that's not loving the club and the fans the way you keep claiming it is. If you love the club and the fans, you're earning a healthy wage now. You've been offered an improved term on that. Sign it if you care about the club. And that's why, for me, I'd sell him. I really would sell him. I wouldn't be able to ransom buy him whatsoever.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it would be a big ball move by Jurgen Klopp and FSG to sell Mane and Salah in the same window. But I think it needs to be done. I think the attack needs it needs refreshed. People are too comfortable in the positions. And you bring in two wingers. I think Jarrett Bowen would be one if we were to sell both of them. He comes in, he's had an unbelievable season with West Ham. Klopp could easily make him into the superstar. And then you bring in, a forward. Who that is, I don't know. But you bring in these two players and, you're like, it's a lot of pressure, but I truly believe that Liverpool have the right personnel to select the right players. But sorry, I'll let you finish in a sec. But going on to who would sign him, I've been thinking about it while you've been talking, and I agree with you, Jack. I think Newcastle are the only ones stupid enough to sign him, because you look at the last 6 months of Salah when he's been piping up. You can't be piping up when you're putting in the performance he was. It's not even like he was just having, he just wasn't finding the net. He was just rubbish. There was probably maybe 5 games since he returned from AFCON that you can say he was his old self. But apart from that, he was rubbish. And let's say if he continues that for another year at Liverpool in the Premier League, no club is going to be like, okay, we'll give you the 400 grand you want, because he's just put in 18 months of absolutely rubbish performance. But sorry, go on, Jack.
There's a lot for me with the Salah thing. It's a variety of options, variety of things. I think that I'm fine with Salah sitting here. In my opinion, at least, I think I'm in the minority on this. I think he can love the club, love the fans, and also feel undervalued and want to be paid a ton of money. That's fine to want to have a lot of money and to be paid a lot of money and also love the club. I don't think those things can't coexist. I do take great exception to the threat that he's almost put up that I will go somewhere else. If he just said, I'll walk at the end of this year, at the end of my contract, if you don't give me what I want, that's fine. That's all he can do. There's a good comment from Tapster that says that basically. All he has to do is honor the contract and then leave for free if he doesn't sign a new one. That's as much leverage as you can possibly give, you know? But, and if he joined a Premier League club that gave him a good amount of money, that's fine. But almost to kind of threaten it and say, do you want to be seeing me in the 23-24 season lining up in the black and white for Newcastle and playing against you in the Premier League? You don't want to see that, do you? That I do take exception to. And I hope it results in a contract being offered that he's acceptable, he finds acceptable, because I think Bowen is a capable replacement. I think Saka is a capable replacement. But I think they should, both of them, one of the two of them, in my opinion, those are my best forwards that I want us to sign, should be signed to compete with Salah. I don't think you can look at what happened with Mane when he was shifted out of his position to the false nine and see the improvements that he had after Diaz was signed and not say that pushing Salah with a direct replacement, direct competition couldn't help him. In my opinion, what I would do is I would continue trying to negotiate a contract with him, sign Jared Bowen, and just have Jared Bowen hot on his heels. And then you're in a spot where, what if Salah can't, play better than Bowen? Then he just kind of walk off, and it's almost like the eggs in his face in that instance. Or Salah returns to the form that deserves 400 grand a week. You pay him that, and you have Mo Salah at his absolute peak. I just think that I don't want to. I think his future will be at Liverpool for another year, at the very least. That's the way I see it.